Isn't it weird how you can feel every hour of the day and still feel like your real life is not moving anywhere you want it to go? I mean, you wake up, react, handle problems, maybe get through some work, take care of people, and then you collapse at night. And here's the thing, you do it again. I did this for years, and that kind of living, it really drains your energy and keeps your bigger goals sitting on the shelf for that someday maybe pile, right? And a lot of people, they think they need more discipline. You know, I get there's a place for discipline, but the real issue is different. It's people, and this is including me, living by default instead of living by design. Now, I heard that phrase before. I don't know if you ever did, where it's like, oh, live by design, not by default. And it's like, well, what does that really mean? Well, living by default, it means your day is mostly shaped by urgency, habit, people's needs, whatever pulls your attention all around, you know, whatever grabs your attention first, that's where you go. And living by design, it means you get to decide what matters and you give it space and you build a day around that with purpose. So we're going to talk about this today. I'm going to give you, I'll give you some tips here. But if you do want help in really getting radically honest about where your life is being driven by default and how to start designing it with more intention, head over to talktoperry.com. If you're watching on the video, I'll drop it there in the lower third. And we will take the current season that you're in and really just design it around your priorities and just these little shifts that really can help you support the life that you actually want to live. That's over at talktoperry.com. All right, one sign that you're living by default is that your best energy goes to everything else that except what matters most, right? So you might spend your sharpest hours answering messages, reacting to people, putting out fires. And when you're doing all this, your health, your goals, your deeper vision, it gets set aside. And we kind of give ourselves a false promise that we'll get to that, you know, when time gets freed up and all that stuff. But it's an illusion. Another sign is that your days, they feel full, yet you don't feel like you're progressing anywhere. You feel busy all the time. You hear that from a lot of people, right? It's like, I'm good, I'm just busy. And we kind of program and condition ourselves to stay busy. But when you stop and ask what's truly moving you forward and toward what you want, the answer is kind of foggy and a little bit blurry. And that usually means activity has been replaced. You know, your activity has replaced your intention. A third sign, it's this emotional autopilot. Stress decides what you eat, right? I mean, we go shopping and we buy things that we know we'll just ration out over the week or whatever. But then really, when stress hits, oh my gosh, that little bag of chips that were going to last all week, did I even eat those? Because you open the bag and it just mindlessly munch. Fatigue, it maybe decides whether you're going to exercise or not. Frustration decides how you talk to yourself. So a hard day, it turns into a hard evening. And then those choices there, they're never what you actually meant to make, yet they're happening by default. So when emotion is driving the plan, life starts to feel like something is happening to you instead of something that you are shaping and designing. So I'm bringing these up just to bring into your power of awareness here. A fourth sign is that your values sound good in your head, but they're not showing up on your calendar. You say health matters, but there's no time protected for exercise. You say peace matters, but there's no margin, no space in your day. You say family matters, but you're mentally checking out because stress shows up everywhere before you even get home. So let's talk about design, because design shows up in structure. And I'm not saying you got to make it boring or anything like that, but it's what you care about. And this is where things really will start to change for you. You don't fix the default living by waiting for a quieter season or for things to settle down. That's an illusion that a lot of us, we've kind of conditioned ourselves to do. Well, I'll get to that when life settles down. I'll exercise more when this happens. No, you got to design that now. And you change it by taking authorship of just a few parts of your day. You don't need a complete overhaul, but you start shifting things. So start with one question here. What's deciding my days right now? Is it urgency? Other people? Screens? Stress? Old habits? If you don't name that and you don't get radically honest with it, what's running your day, you can't redirect it. And I get it. We want to say to ourselves, oh, yeah, I'll get to that. But when you start to identify that, from there, just look at where your life is leaking energy. And some of these habits will take a little bit of time to shift, I bet. It could be late night scrolling. It might be a cluttered morning. Maybe you hit the snooze button a few times and you get up in a scramble. It might be saying yes to everything way too quickly. It might be a total lack of planning around your food. You just mindlessly grab or go and head out for some quick grab and go fast food sort of thing. It could be even the same deal around exercise and sleep. You're not getting enough sleep and you're not getting any exercise. Default living, it often looks dramatic from the outside. Yet it's usually built from a handful of just repeated leaks. So once you see the leaks, you can design a better flow. And it really means a deliberate life. So choose a few anchors that really reflect who you want to be here. So maybe it's a short walk before work. Now, I did some shifting for myself. I was always telling myself, I'm not a morning person. I've got these things to do. I got to get to work. I got to take care of the pets, all this stuff. Then I started to say, well, who says? So I started setting my alarm 30 minutes earlier. Now, I left the house because I have an hour commute. I left the house at 6 a.m. So to get my stuff done and lunch prepared and everything, 5 o'clock is when I needed to get up. But now I'm telling myself I got to get up at 4:30. Oh, I could create a dramatic story around that. Why that could never happen. Yet when I started to do that, I'm just going to test this out and I'm going to start exercising. Now, this is after I had already had a ritual of exercising, got habit, but I was wanting more time in my evenings. So that's what I started shifting. I started testing that out. I did it for 30 days. I'm like, man, morning workouts made my day go better. And when I get home, I don't have to figure out when I'm going to exercise. Now I had a set time. I've already told you about that. But this could be, maybe it's a short walk before you go to work. Maybe it's planning tomorrow before bedtime. Maybe it's protecting just 1 hour of sleep instead of giving it away to the noise on the TV and the screens. Maybe it's just shutting the kitchen. Kitchen's closed. And right after dinner. Design also requires deciding ahead of time. Got to do some planning here. And it's deciding ahead of time what you will allow to keep running things. So you'll get into this rhythm of, okay, I'm making these changes. Life will challenge you on it. It'll bring up some contrasting sort of thing. And you've got to show up and do it anyway. A default has loose boundaries. So you got to set some direction here. A design life, it has directions already made, or decisions anyway, where you're like, hey, this didn't go as planned, and I'm still deciding this anyway. You know when you're going to exercise. You know when you're going to unplug. You know what supports your energy. You have a plan when, for instance, I was like, well, I want to eat healthy here, but then somebody wants to go out or there's some sort of holiday. I just designed a plan around it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to deprive myself, but then I'm not going to binge on a bunch of stuff that's but that isn't working toward my goal. I'm still going to enjoy my time with everybody. I'm just going to make some shifts here. So you know what already throws you off. You're just reducing the debate when you've decided ahead of time. It matters in fitness, Many people think they have a motivation problem. They just have a design problem. So if workouts always depend on when you have free time, you're going to lose. If food always depends on what you're in the mood for, you're going to wobble. It's the sort of thing. So when you live by design, your days begin to feel like they more belong to you. You're going to feel more in control. You're going to feel more empowered, more in flow. Your energy rises because fewer things are pulling you off in every direction. You'll probably find yourself stop saying the busy word. Your goals stay alive because they stop being leftovers. So you don't need a dramatic overhaul. It's just to be radically honest with yourself with an awareness here and a few clear decisions that reflect the life that you really, really want to live. You've got this, my friend. I'd love to hear your top takeaway from today. I appreciate you so much. You can drop those down in the comments. I promise I will reply. You absolutely rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day, I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff. And we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to upsidedownfit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find this show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast, and always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.